Hello all, and welcome to Tangents on Cracked Spines. Those of you that are watching this, I apologize. I couldn't keep up the illusion even 3 weeks in a row. I'm getting over a stomach bug, and I just do not have the energy for that. To try and pretend I have a pretty place, and I love the insanity. I really do. I'm just meh. Anyways, what are we doing here? So, we are reading public domain works, and I am doing a train of thought. Whenever something in the works strike me, I will comment on it, whether it's good or not. And I don't edit it out. I wanted to do the podcast. I liked my commentary. I mostly do this for my mom, and she loves the commentary because she's my mom. She's the one who encouraged me to do the podcast. I'm Frankie, by the way, and again, welcome to Tangents on Cracked Spines, my lovely bookworms. There may or may not be cat footage, because this is a different angle than usual. Alrighty, let's see how this works. I apologize. I'm normally nocturnal, but my circadian rhythm is all messed up. So, what are we reading? We are currently reading A Nonsense Anthology. This is part 3 of this particular book. I'm not sure we're gonna finish it in 15-ish chapters. We shall see. Scusi. I apologize. First chapter was mostly intro, the person being like, hey! I don't think nonsense gets enough love. Last one, honestly, I don't remember much except for 2 poems. I remember Darwinity and Song of the Screw, because the one was about biology, evolution, and the other one was about physics. And I am nerdy enough that those stuck in my head. And that we also ended on them, so. Let's see. We shall begin again. And already, I can't speak. The moorlands of the Knot. Across the moorlands of the Knot we chase the gruesome when, and hunt the itness of the what through forests of the then. Into the inner consciousness we track the crafty where, we spear the ego tough, and beard the selfhood in his lair. With lassos of the brain we catch the isness of the was, and in the copses of the whence we hear the think bees buzz. We climb the slippery witch bark tree to watch the thusness roll, and pause betimes in Gnostic rhymes to woo the oversoul. And again, we're going to continue with believe they're all anonymous unless I state who they're by. Metaphysics. Why and wherefore set out one day to hunt for a wild negation. They agreed to meet at a cool retreat on the point of interrogation. But the night was dark and they missed their mark, and driven well nigh to distraction, they lost their ways in a murky maze of utter abstruse abstraction. Then they took a boat and were soon afloat on a sea of speculation. But the sea grew rough, and their boat, though tough, was split into an equation. As they floundered about in the waves of doubt, rose a fearful hypothesis, who gibbered with glee as they sank in the sea, and the last they saw was this. On a rock-bound reef of unbelief, there sat the wild negation. Then they sank once more, and were washed ashore at the point of interrogation. Oliver Herford. abstrosophy. It echoes from the fitful past, could rise to mental view. Would all the fancied radiance last, or would some odors from the blast, untouched by time, accrue? Is present pain a future bliss, or is it something worse? For instance, take a case like this. Is fancied kick a real kiss, or rather, the reverse? Is plentitude of passion palled by poverty of scorn? Does fiction mend where fact has mauled? Has death its wisest victims called when idiots are born? Hey, that one didn't rhyme. Galette Burgess. And part of my thing is, I wave my hands! And I was not up to setting up my tripod and stuff, my arm. So it's in my literal arm. And my actual gesturing arm is out of view. Hi, kitty. I've got an aster. That's the white one. I will be able to read these words eventually. Abstemia. In mystic argot often confounded with farrago. If aught that stumbles in my speech or stutters in my pen, or claiming tribute, there's the ester. Or claiming tribute each to each, rise not to fall again. Let something lowlier far for me, though I can't read with you there. Where was I? Rise not to fall again, let something lowlier far from me, through evanescent shades, than which my spirit might not be nourished in fitful ecstasy, not less to know, but more to see, where that great bliss pervades. Also a Galette Burgess. Gelett, maybe? G-E-L-E-T-T. You tell me. How is that pronounced? Cyclophon. Supposed to be translated from the old Parsi. Twine then the rays round her soft Theban tissues. All will be as she says when that dead past reissues. Matters not what nor where, hark to the moon's dim cluster. How was her heavy hair lithe as a feather duster? Matters not when or whence flitterty-gibbet. Sounds make the song, not sense thus I inhibit. Maybe this one should just be considered the Galette Burgess section. Timon of Archimedes. I'm not sure I pronounced... Is it Timon or Timon? Because I see Timon and I think Lion King. And if you're hearing a lot of, head sounds, I'm sorry. I had the lovely combination of a sinus infection with my stomach bug. So my head was stuffy and it's still kind of clearing out while I was getting, stabbed in the stomach by an unseen force. It was not fun. Timon of Archimedes. As one who cleaves the circumambient air, seeking in azure what it lacks in space, and sees a young and finely chiseled face, filled with foretaste of wisdom, yet more rare, touching and yet untouched, unmeasured grace. A breathing credo and a living prayer, yet of the earth still earthy, debonair, the while in heaven it seeketh for a place. So thy dear eyes and thy kind lips but say, ere from his cerements Timon seems to flit, what of the reaper grim with sickle keen, and then the sunlight ushers in new day, and for our tasks our bodies seem more fit, might of the night unfleeing, sight unseen. Charles Battelle Loomis. Alone. Alone, alone, I sit in the solitudes of the moonshade, soul hungering in the moonshade solitudes, said I. My heart lifts beaten down in the wild wind path. Oppressed and scourged and beaten down are my heart lifts. I fix my gaze on the eye star, and the eye star flings its dart upon me. I wonder why my soul is lost, and wonder why I am, and why the eye star mocks me, and why the wild wind beats down my heart lifts, why I am stricken here in the moonshade solitudes. Oh, why am I what I am, and why am I anything? Am I not as wild as the wind and more crazy? Why do I sit in the moonshade while the eye star mocks me, while I ask what I am? Why? Anonymous. And I relate to that one. I think everybody relates to that one right now. Ooh, and readjustment. Lines by a medium. I might not if I could, I should not if I might, yet if I should I would, and shoulding I should quite. I must not yet I may, I can and still I must, but I cannot nay. To must I may not just. I shall although I will, but be it understood. If I may, can, shall still, I might, could, would, or should. Transcendentalism. It is told in Buddha Theosophic schools there are rules by observing which, when mundane labor irks, one can simulate quiescence by a timely effervescence from his active mortal essence, or his works. The particular procedure leaves research in the lurch, but apparently this matter-molded form is a kind of outer plaster, which a well-instructed master can remove without disaster when he's warm. And to such as mourn an Indian solar clime, add its prime tour a thesis immeasurably fit, so expansively elastic and so plausibly fantastic, that one gets enthusiastic for a bit. That was from the Times of India. No, I don't want to highlight that. Go away. Indifference. In loopy links the canker crawls, tad twiddle in their Paulian glee, yet sinks my heart as water falls. The loon that laughs, the babe that bawls, the wedding where the funeral palls, are neither here nor there to me. O life, the mingled wine and brine, I sit and sip, pip slipsly, silly. Heart foam. Oh, to be wafted away from this Akeladama of sorrow, where the dust of an earthy today makes the earth of a dusty tomorrow. W.S. Gilbert. Kazim Bazaar. Completely, my hookah badar, for the sound of the tam-tam is heard from afar. Boonaloo, boonala! The Brahmins are nigh, and the depths of the jungle re-echo their cry. Pistanji Punjabi, smite the guitar, join in the chorus, my hookah badar. Heed not the blast of the deadly monsoon, nor the blue Brahmaputra that gleams in the moon. Stick to thy music, and oh, let it the sound be heard with distinctness a mile or two round. Famsechi Fenjiboy, sweep the guitar, join in the chorus, my hookah badar. Thou art a Buddhist, or dost thou indeed put faith in the monstrous Mohammedan creed? That's not a good way to put that. Especially now. Art thou a Jabber, a blinded Parsee? Not that it matters an atom to me. Kirshji, Bamanji, twang the guitar, join in the chorus, my hookah bajar. Henry S. Lee. The personified sentimental. This one should be good. Affection's charm no longer gilds the idol of the shrine, but cold oblivion seeks to refill regret's ambrosial wine. Though friendship's offering buried lies neath cold aversion snow, regard and faith will ever bloom perpetually below. I see thee whirl in marble halls in pleasure's giddy train. Remorse is never on that brow, nor sorrow's mark of pain. Deceit has marked thee for her own inconsistency the same, and ruin wildly sheds its gleam athwart thy path of shame. Bret Harte. Now, I do have comments for some of these, I do. But I don't know enough about some of this stuff for it to make a lick of sense. And I know it's a nonsense anthology, so it's not supposed to make sense. But some of the things don't make sense because the person who collected it didn't understand the background for it. And that's where I'm at. Some of the stuff I think makes sense to someone, but not to me. A classical ode. O limpid stream of Tyrus, now I hear the pulsing wings of Armageddon's host, clear as the Kulkathar and yet more clear, twin orbs like those of which the Parsees boast. Down in thy pebbled deeps in early spring the dimpled naiads sport, as in the time when Acetylus with untiring wing drave teams of prancing tigers mid the chime. Of all the bells of Ficle, scarcely one parasitome veils its beauties now, but then like nascent diamonds sparkling in the sun, or saintfin cercinate, or moss in marshy fen. Loudly as the blasts of Tubal, loud and strong, sweet as the songs of Sappho, aye more sweet, long as the spear of Arnon, twice as long, what time he hurled it at King Pharaoh's feet. Charles Battelle Loomis. Where avalanches wail. And I'm sorry you're seeing a lot of up my nose, but that's the best time for me to read. Where avalanches wail. Where avalanches wail and green distress sweeps over the pallid peak of loveliness, where melancholy sulphur holds her sway and cliffs of conscience tremble and obey, and where Tartarian rattlesnakes expire, twisting like tendrils of a hero's pyre. No, dancing in the meter's hall of power, see Genus ponders o'er affection's tower, a form of thundering import soars on high, hark, 'tis the gore of infant melody. No more shall verdant innocence amuse the lips that death-fraught indignation glues, tempest shall teach the trackless tide of thought, that undiminished senselessness is naught. Freedom shall glare, and oh, ye links divine, the poet's heart shall quiver in the brine. Anonymous. Blue moonshine. Mingled I with fragrant yearnings, throbbing in the mellow glow, glint the silvery spirit burnings, pearly blandishments of woe. I forever and forever, whilst the lovelorn censers sweep, whilst the jasper winds dissever, amber like the crystal deep, shall the soul's delirious slumber, sea-green vengeance of a kiss, teach despairing crags to number blue infinities of bliss. Francis G. Stokes. Nonsense! That's all we're reading. Good reader, if you ever seen when Phoebus hastens to his pillow, the mermaids with their tresses green dancing upon the western billow. If you have seen at twilight dim when the lone spirit's vesper hymn floats wild along the winding shore, the fairy train their ringlets weave, glancing along the spangled green. If you have seen all this and more, God bless me, what a deal you've seen. Thomas More. Superior nonsense verses. He comes with herald clouds of dust, ecstatic frenzies rend his breast, a moment and he graced the earth, Now seek him at the eagle's nest. Hark, seest thou not the torrent's flash far shooting o'er the mountain height? Hearest not the billow's solemn roar that echoes through the vaults of night? Anon the murky cloud is riven, the lightnings leap in sportive play, and though the clanging doors of heaven in calm effulgence burst the day, Hope, peering from her fleecy car, smiles welcome to the coming spring, and birds with blithesome songs of praise make every grove and valley ring. What though on pinions of the blast the seagulls sweep with leaden flight? What through the watery caverns deep gleam ghostly on the wandering sight? Is there no music in the trees to charm thee with its frolic mirth? Must care's wan phantoms still beguile and chain thee to the stubborn earth? Lo, fancy from her magic realm pours boreal gleams, adore the pole. The tidal currents lift and swell, dead currents of the ocean's soul. Yet never may their mystic streams breathe whispers of the mournful past, or Pollars wake her sounding lyre mid ether's columned temples vast. Grave history walks again the earth, as erst it did in days of eld, when seated on the golden throne, her hand a jeweled scepter held. The Delphinian oracle is dumb, dread Cume wafts no wounds of fate to fright the eager souls that press through sullen Leth's iron gate. Oh no, the Delphinian oracle being silent. That's not good. Well, it actually means deaf. But deeper shadows gather o'er the veils that sever night and morn, and darkness folds with brooding wing the rustling fields of waving corn. Then issuing from his bosky lair, the crafty tiger crouches low, or thunders from the frozen north the white bear lapped in arctic snow. Is it me, or is each stanza changing mythos? Thus shift the scenes till high aloft the young moon sets her crescent horn, and in grey evening's emerald sea the beauteous star of love is born. That one was anonymous. When moonlight o'er the Hazor seas. I'm assuming the H is supposed to be silent. When moonlight o'er the Azore seas and soft effulgence swells, when silver dews and balmy breeze bend down the lily's bell. I hope that was supposed to be jewels. I'm hoping that was a typo. When calm and deep the rosy sleep has lapped your soul in dreams, Arhangeline, Our Lady mine, dost thou remember James? I mark thee in the marble hall where England's loveliest shine. I say the fairest of them all is Lady Angeline. My soul in desolate eclipse with recollection teems, and then I ask with weeping lips, dost thou remember James? It's really spelled Jeemes. Geames. Jeemes? Jamies? Anyway, I may not tell thee all the souring heart endures. There is a lonely spirit call the sorrow never cures. There is a little star that still above me beams. It is the star of hope, but dost thou remember Jeemes? W.M. Thackeray. Lines by a person of quality. Probably not a person of quality, then. I know I'm not one. Fluttering spread thy purple pinions, gentle Cupid, o'er my heart. I, a slave to thy dominions, nature must give way to art. Mild Arcadians ever blooming, nightly nodding o'er your flocks, see my weary days consuming, all beneath yon flowery rocks. Thus the Cyprian goddesses weeping mourned Adonis, darling youth, Him the boar in silence creeping, gored with unrelenting tooth. Cynthia tune harmonious numbers, fair discretion tune the lyre, soothe my ever-waking slumbers, bright Apollo lend thy choir. Gloomy Pluto, hey! Gloomy Pluto, king of terrors, armed in antimonium chains, lead me to the crystal mirrors, watering soft Elysian plains. Mournful cypress, verdant willow, gilding my Aurelia's brows, Morpheus hovering o'er my pillow, hear me pay my dying vows. Melancholy smooth meander, swiftly purling in a round, on thy margin lovers wander, with thy flowery chaplets crown. Thus when Philomela drooping softly seeks her silent mate, so the bird of Juno stooping melody resigns to fate. Alexander Pope. Frangipani. Frangipani. Untwine those ringlets, every dainty clasp that shines like twisted sunlight in my eye, is but the coiling of the jeweled asp that smiles to see men die. O cobra curled, fierce fanged fair one, draw night's curtain o'er the landscape of thy hair. I yield, I kneel, I own, I bless thy law that dooms me to despair. Halfway in is probably not the time to be saying this, but I forgot to mention it earlier. I know we're reading A Nonsense Anthology, and that it's from 1910. That does not mean that the work is appropriate for all listeners. Please take discretion, seeing as we have mentioned unaliving multiple times. Oops. O cobra curled, fierce fanged fair one, draw night's curtain o'er the landscape of thy hair. I yield, I kneel, I own, I bless thy law that dooms me to despair. An asp doesn't have hair. I mark the crimson ruby of thy lips, I feel the witching weirdness of thy breath. I droop, I sink into my soul's eclipse, I fall in love with death. And yet vouchsafe a moment, I would gaze once more into those sweetly murderous eyes, soft glimmering athwart the pearly haze that smites to dust the skies. Hast thou no pity? Must I darkly tread the unknown paths that lead me wide from thee? Hast thou no garland for this aching head that soon so low must be? No sound, no sigh, no smile, is all forgot? Then spin my shroud out of that golden skin thou call'st thy tresses. I shall stay thee not. My struggles were but vain. But shall I see thee far beyond the sun when the new dawn lights Empyrean scenes? What matters now? I know the poem's done, and wonder what the dickens it all means. Anonymous. Lines by a fond lover. Lovely maid with the rapture swelling, should these pages meet thine eyes, clouds of absence soft dispelling, vacant memory heaves a sigh. As the rose with fragrance weeping trembles to the tuneful wave, so my heart shall twine unsleeping till it canopies the grave. Though another smiles requited, envious fate my doom should be, joy forever disunited, think, think times on me. Oft amid the spicy gloaming, where the brakes their songs instill, fond affection, silent roaming, loves to linger by the rill. There when echoes voice consoling, hears the nightingale complain, gentle sighs my lips controlling, bind my soul in beauty's chain. Often slumbers deep recesses, I thy mirrored image see, fancy mocks the vain caresses I would lavish like a bee. But how vain is glittering sadness, hark, I hear distraction's knell, torture gilds my heart with madness, now forever Fare thee well. Anonymous. Forcing away. How many strive to force a way where none can go save those who pay to verdant plains of soft delight the homage of the silent night, when countless stars from pole to pole around the earth unceasing roll, in rosette shadowy silvery hue, shine forth and gild the morning dew. And must we really part for good, but meet again here where we've stood? No more delightful trysting place we've watched sweet nature's smiling face. No more the landscape's lovely brow exchange our mutual breathing vow. Then should the twilight draw around no loving interchange of sound, less for renown than innate love, these two my wish must recreant prove, nor whilst an impulse here remain, can ever hope the soul to gain. For memory scanning all the past, relaxes her firm bonds at last, and gives to candor all the grace the heart can in its temple trace. Anonymous. Alright, you've had enough of my face. Let's move to a kitty in my unmade bed because she nests. Thy heart. Thy heart is like some icy lake on whose cold brink I stand. O buckle on my spirit's skate and lead, thou living saint, the way to where the ice is thin, that it may break beneath my feet and let a lover in. Believe we're back to, if I haven't said who it's by, it's anonymous. Your name is not anonymous, Tiggy. A love song by a lunatic. Ooh, this one should be fun. There's not a spider in the sky, there's not a glowworm in the sea, there's not a crab that soars on high, but bids me dream, dear maid, of thee. When watery Phoebus ploughs the main, when fiery Luna gilds the lee, as flies run up the window pane, so fly my thoughts, dear love, to thee. Anonymous. The Partery. Partery? Partery. Parterre? Oh. I don't know the greatest treat as sit him in a gay party and sniff one up the perfume sweet of every rose's buttoning there. If only want my charming miss who make the blush the self-red rose, oh, I have envy of the kiss, the end's tip of her splendid nose. Oh, I have envy of to be what grass neath her pantoffle push, and too much happy seemeth me the Margaret with the vestige crush. But I will meet her nose at nose, and take occasion for her hairs, and indicate her all my woes, that she is in fine agree to my prayers. Hi, Aster. Welcome back. Would you like to be on camera? Hi, Aster. Ooh, there we go. Cat break. The Envoy. I don't know any greatest treat as sit him in gay parterre with madam who is too more sweet than every rose's buttoning there. And she's running away. The Envoy. I don't know any greatest treat as sit him in a gay oh, I've read that one already. That was E.H. Palmer. To Mulladusta. When gooseberries grow on the stem of a daisy, and plum puddings roll on the tide to the shore, and julep is made from the curls of a jazy, oh, then, Mulladusta, I'll love thee no more. When steamboats no more on the Thames shall be going, and a cast-iron bridge reach thou hall from the Nore, and the Grand Junction waterworks cease to be flowing, oh, then, Mulladusta, I'll love thee no more. Planchet. John Jones at the piano. Sorry, I have a keyboard, but don't play that well, and it's not like this came with music. I love me and leave me, what love bids retrieve me. Can June's first grasp May? Leave me and love me, hope sighed once above me, like spring sprouts decay. Fall as the snow falls when summer leaves grow false, cards packed for storm's play. Second stanza. It talks about parts. Nay, say decays, self be but last May's elf. Wings shifted, I sheathed, changeling in April's crib rocked, who let scape rills locked fast since frost breathed. I feel like that was a lot of words that didn't make any sense. So it works for the Nonsense Anthology. Skin cast think, adder-like, now bloom burst bladder-like, bloom frost bequeathed. Oh, there's a third stanza. Ah, how can fear sit and hear as love hears it? Grief's heart's cracked gates screech. Chance lets the gate sway that opens on hate's way and shows on shame's beach crouched like an imp. Sly change watch sweet, love's shrimps lie, a toothful in each. Part 4. Time feels his tooth slip on husks wet from truth slip, which droops them from grins, shells where no throbsters of life left in lobsters, since joy thrilled their fins, hues of the pond's tail or comb that makes dawn stales, so red for our sins. Part 5. Leaves love last year smelt, now feel dead love's tears melt, flies caught in time's mesh. Salt are the dews in which new time breeds new sin, bruise blood and stews flesh. Next year may see dead. More germs than this weeded and reared them afresh. Old times left perish, new time to cherish. Life just shifts its tune as when the day dies, half afraid. Eyes the growth of the moon. Love me and save me. Take me or wave me. Death takes one so soon. Whoops, I got Tiggy out of focus. You were just staring at my blanket that she nested in. A.C. Swinburne. Oh, this one I have to keep on the cat. Tiggy, ready for your close-up? Yeah? Yeah? The Owl and the Pussycat. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea-green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money wrapped up in a 5-pound note. The owl looked up to the stars above and sang to a small guitar. Oh, lovely pussy, oh, pussy, my love, what a beautiful pussy you are. You are, what a beautiful pussy you are. Pussy said to the owl, you elegant fowl, how charmingly sweet you sing. Oh, let us be married, too long have we tarried, but what shall we do for a ring? They sailed away for a year and a day to the land where the bong tree grows. And there stood in the wood a piggy-wig stood, with a ring at the end of his nose, his nose, with a ring at the end of his nose. Dear pig, are you willing to sell for 1 shilling your ring? Said the piggy, I will. So they took it away and were married next day by the turkey who lives on the hill. They dined on mince and slices of quince, which they ate with a runcible spoon. And hand in hand on the edge of the sand, they danced by the light of the moon, the moon, the moon. They danced by the light of the moon. Edward Lear. What do you think of it, Tiggy? Tiggy is unimpressed. Her tail is a-thumping. All right, you're back to my face. Let's go with one more. The Ballad of the Nursery. She hid herself in the soiree, kettle out of her ma's way, wise wee maid. Wan was her lip as the lily's petals, sad was the smile that over it played. Why doth she warble not? Is she afraid of the hound that howls, or the moaning mole? Can it be on an errand she hath delayed? Hush thee, dear little soul. The nightingale sings to the nodding nettle in the gloom of the gloaming athwart the glade. The zephyr sighs soft on Popocatap. Knew it was too good. Popocatapetl? I'm sorry, I don't know that word. And Auster is taking it cool in the shade. Sing hey for a good serenade. Not mine to stir up a storied pole, no noses snip with a bluggy blade. It does say bluggy. Hush thee, dear little soul. Shall I bribe with a store of minted metal? With Everton toffee thee persuade that thou in a kettle thyself shouldst settle, when grandly and gaudily all arrayed, thy flounces'll foul and fangles fade. Come out and Algernon Charles'll roll thee safe and snug in Plutonian plaid. Hush thee, dear little soul. And that's where we'll end for tonight. I'm sorry for those who are watching. It was very, all over the place, but at least you got to see my cats. Hopefully I'm feeling better next week. I will have changed ages between now and then. But yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Thank you for getting this far. I do appreciate it. Please, normal podcasting business, if you enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe, review, whatever your options are wherever you're listening to this, because you can access this on like 8 different platforms. So, I mean, obviously, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called now, is the best to get me viewed, but Spotify will get me sponsors. But even YouTube, like wherever, I'm fine. I'm happy if you share it or like it, review it, whatever. Have fun. Again, thank you. And reviews don't have to be deep and meaningful. They can be, I don't know. I like cats. Believe it or not, I'm an all animal person, but I have somehow managed to come into relationship with 3 cats, because let's face it, you don't own a cat. They own the house. They run the house. If you'd like to support me, I will put the link in the description if I can remember. To the different ways you can do that. And if you want to reach out to me, there's email talkspod at gmail.com. My apologies. Where else can you find me? Facebook, Tension on Crack Spines Book Club. I on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook, I post daily poems of random sorts. I don't know. All of my socials are at FrankieCore92, including my linktree. Thank you again for listening this long. I appreciate you. you have a wonderful night or morning whenever this loads. And you access it. Because I upload it right away, but I live in the sticks, so the internet is slow. So it probably won't actually be accessible until morning. And then after that, whenever it gets to your ears. And hopefully next week, I will be more put together. Good night.